What's going on, my friends? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Um, this is not a hospital room. You're not seeing. Your eyes are not deceiving you. I'm getting a little vitamin, uh, little pump here. It'll be done here in a few minutes. But anyways, this morning we welcome a hairdresser turned online entrepreneur who has and is doing quite a few things, blogging, TikToking, and using Pinterest. We'll hear a little bit about her story. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, where are you calling in from?
Los Angeles, so it is early.
Okay, nice. So tell us a little bit about your journey and your story and how and what ultimately led you to find us.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I was a hairdresser for 10 years straight out of high school. I didn't want to go to college, so I just went to hairdressing school and did that. And I live in Los Angeles, so I thought it's like the Mecca. And it was great. I loved it. I mean, I was young and I was
Mm-hmm.
basically already a freelancer because I always kind of made my own schedule and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I absolutely loved it. My clients, but I was still living paycheck to paycheck because LA is so expensive and all
Right.
that fun stuff. And obviously, when the pandemic hit, just at the drop of a hatch, I was out of work. And then I
Mm.
realized, oh, I'm out of work, so I'm not making any money. Um,
Right.
and I remember getting that email from my boss saying that we were going to close for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, I literally have 2 weeks of savings or, leftover money. And after that,
Wow.
I have nothing. So that was kind
Wow.
of like, okay, you need to get it together. You're not like, yes, you're young, but you need to change stuff. So
Mm.
um, I took that time during lockdown to kind of reevaluate everything
Mm-hmm.
and started reading, started educating myself, and did go back to work, but I was still trying to figure out what I could do. But I didn't go to college. So I was just freaked out. I was like, I have no
Mm.
education. And so I didn't really know what to do. And I came across, I was, I came across TikTok and
There's basically no other place to go
I
except the internet
know
at that point, right?
it's
You're
insane.
in the middle of a global shutdown. We don't know if it's the end of the world or not, but I mean, as long as we're still here, you've got to eat, and
Yeah.
the landlord's at least calling, telling you, hey, rent still needs to be paid, right? But you've just been sent home, deemed non-essential, and you're kind of between a rock and a hard place, right? The only place to turn is the internet, the dark web at
Yeah,
that point, right?
I know. And I wasn't, other than like online shopping and stuff, I didn't even have a laptop. I literally bought my first laptop
Wow.
for my birthday in August in 2021. And I
Mm,
figured out digital marketing. I was like, okay, so I got certified in Google certifications, and I just wanted to either do freelance work or work for a company. And then
hmm.
again on TikTok, I found you guys, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, great. I could either do this on the side or it could just be another freelance thing. I had no idea where this was going to take me, and I just decided to go for it. I had my own studio doing hair, and I was just like, I got to give this up. Because I'm just one of those people that I have to give it everything I have, or it's just not going to work out for me. So
Yeah.
I had no job. So this is the only thing so this had to work for me because
Wow.
I had nothing.
Yeah. That's time and time again what we hear is when, people are in between a rock and a hard place and they really use their that pain to push them through, unfortunately, and this is just the what? Oh, you're blocked in. This is just a sort of reality of you know the world is just that unless you're using your pain and you're in a really tough spot, a lot of times you don't do anything about your situation. And no
Right.
matter what it is, you know what I mean? If it's, you know, I mean, yeah, money, for example. I mean, I'll just use the one that we're talking about. I mean, I've seen people come in, particularly for many years before the pandemic, et cetera, who still had cushy jobs and just, thanks so much, wanted to just have more money, but they weren't really running out of money. So it was just kind of a side hustle hobby. I'll get to it when I get to it. And, you know, but I'll tell you what, these last 20 months, when people were put in a position like you're describing, where it's like, okay, I got nothing now. I'm
Hmm.
there's no money in sight. I don't know what, that's a real scary place where
Right.
you almost go into survival mode. And you're right. It's either you do it or you starve. And I'll tell you, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people succeeding right now. It's hard for me because I don't have tons of data to look back at and compare to, but I just feel like there's a real, it's hard to put your finger on it, but I say this time and time again, what is causing you pain, and can you amplify that in your life and use it as motivation, even if you have to manufacture it a little bit, even if you have to, because I just believe as long as human beings are complacent and don't really have to change, it's hard to change.
Yeah.
You had real pain. Now, you folks out there might also have real pain, but if you are somewhat complacent, then you might want to start trying to take a look at what in the hell hurts, and would you like to stop hurting in your life, because you really can use that as some pretty serious motivation. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I was okay with settling. I was okay with living paycheck to paycheck because I was like, I live in Los Angeles. I have a great
Right. You
apartment.
got a great
You know,
life.
I
Your
it's
job doesn't suck. I mean,
and I did,
you probably
but it
enjoy
was
your
just
work.
settling. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but all of a sudden when Armageddon comes in and it's like it's the end of the world, it's scary. It's like, look, you can still live and you can still eat and you can still have a life, but you just have to do it at home, and you can't leave your house to go to work, and therefore you're not going to get paid. So just hang tight.
Right. And that's what it was. It was like, cool, like, you know, we'll let you know.
Right.
It's like, okay.
We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's been this great kind of like nobody's really at fault because, well, the government's doing the shutdowns and all this and that. So there's been no real, okay, so the government shut us down, so they're going to send us a check, right? So, they send out $1,200 checks 6 months apart. Like, what's that supposed to do for anybody?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people have been pushed into, whether it be driving for Uber, whether it be going online, whether it be sticking with and following through a course that you bought, because if you parted with your money, maybe you don't have more income coming in right now because you lost your job. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I feel like there's been a lot of people who have been in that spot and can relate to that. And um it's a powerful thing when you can use your situation as a motivator to get out of it, to better your life. And there's some real consequences on the other side of you not taking action,
Right.
you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of times there's not consequences, right? Because we still got the job or whatever, so we're not really going to starve. But I mean, and if we waste a few $100s or a few $1,000s on something, we can always just say, well, I'll get back to it later. That's usually what we tell ourselves. So how has the what how has the business model resonated with you? How have you I guess, what makes the most sense about this business model, and what attracted you to want to come go through our learning process and continue to follow through from there?
Well, I loved the 15-day challenge. It was the fact that you had a live person that you could talk to and ask questions was amazing. And I mean, you really learn skills that I can use forever. Like, let's say if like an affiliate product falls off, okay, I know that knowledge and I can just go and find another one. So it's
Mm,
it really it's not just something that I can do right now for maybe like a year or two. It's something that I can build upon my skills forever. And that's something great that I other than like hairdressing, like it's something that I can do like even if I get hurt or whatever the situation. Like with
yeah.
hairdressing, I felt like if my body breaks down on me, then my body breaks down on me. Like I'm only 30 and I already had problems with my body. And I was like, and that was another thing that I was like, okay, I need to figure out something else.
Mm,
And with this, different, I feel like I have different things to do. Like I'm kind of going crazy in my head, brainstorming, like, okay, other than affiliate marketing, what can I do? My own digital products, my own like coaching set, so
yeah.
it's like different forms of income, which I never thought was possible. I was like, okay, you have a job and you get a paycheck and that's it. I
Mm,
didn't know about passive income. I mean, I knew about investing, but I didn't know how to go about that. So it just kind of opened up a whole other world for me,
mm.
especially because I was new to online. So it's been kind of surreal.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. So have you found how have you transitioned through maybe doing some things that are out of your comfort zone? I don't know what's been out of your comfort zone. Why don't you tell us some of the things that have been out of your comfort zone, and then what are you doing to move through them versus avoid them?
Everything's out of my comfort zone. I mean, like I said, I was not tech savvy at all. So the good thing that I knew about digital marketing was I took Google certification. So I knew the basics of
Mm,
digital marketing, which was super beneficial. And it was free. So that was amazing. But I I kind of realized that you have to get out of your comfort zone. Like obviously my comfort zone was doing hair, was doing things that I knew, and that wasn't working for me. So I, you have to get uncomfortable to move forward and to do different things, or else you're just gonna stay complacent.
mm,
So yeah, like social media was kind of foreign to me too. I mean, I have social media, but I wasn't really good at it, and I'm still not like great at it. I'm like working on that, which is why I mainly do Pinterest because it's
mhm,
not a social platform, which I was like, yes, thank you. So social media, the online, the tech stuff, like building my funnels, like it was so foreign to me. And thank God there's Google because any kind of like videos, trainings, like I take because I just didn't know anything.
mm. Yeah. Um, so what are you doing with Pinterest exactly?
So I use Pinterest, I built it up, and I use Pinterest to drive traffic to my blog. And one of
Okay.
my main blog posts is how I started my own online business with affiliate marketing through you guys,
Okay.
through Legendary Marketer.
Okay. And you're just basically posting on Instagram and going in kind of driving traffic to your blog.
Yes. I had to
Interesting.
do it the fast way because organic traffic in Pinterest takes a little time. So I do
Yeah.
run Pinterest ads.
Oh, you do run Pinterest ads.
Mhm.
Wow. Interesting. It's fascinating. Pinterest is a beast. It's a
It's a really it's a really good platform.
yeah. Wow. So I'm kind of looking at your Pinterest page and I'm seeing just endless of what looks like very similar content here.
Mhm.
Um and you've just it looks like it just goes on and on and on, like, how many
Yeah.
posts you've made. Oh, wow, it's unbelievable. Are all these
A lot.
individual posts here on Pinterest?
Yeah, so
Wow.
there is an app that schedules it for you.
Mhm.
But so far I've just been doing it all myself.
Wow.
So yeah, Canva and Pinterest have been my best friends.
Okay, so you make all these images inside of Canva,
Yes.
and then you just kinda post them onto your Pinterest profile with no not even I mean, a very short caption, and then you link
Hmm.
over to your blog, and this is where people, are diving deeper into your topic, and then you've got affiliate links embedded all
Hmm.
through the sorry, all through the post.
Yes.
Interesting, interesting. So it's kind of a little bit more this is a great example of delivering value in the written form, long form content, and even I mean when I say long form content, it's really just forget even whether it's short or long form. I mean, because this is a rather quick read, so it's not like it's if you
Hmm.
were to read this out, it'd probably take 3 to 5 minutes. So I mean, you can post a video on TikTok now that's 3 minutes long, I think. So this is
Yes.
really the opposite of doing video content. I mean, if you're doing video
Yeah.
content, you're probably doing video content on TikTok, Instagram, maybe YouTube, or at least repurposing your TikToks over onto YouTube Shorts. But with you, there's not a single bit of video involved. You are simply creating images that are speaking to a very specific audience, which is online business and in mindset people who are looking to make more money, people who are looking to entrepreneurship or open to entrepreneurship, open to multiple streams of income, opportunity seekers, as I call them. And um, and you just create a simple little kind of almost like ad. But it
Yeah.
doesn't look threatening like an ad. It looks like a little meme, and it's got a very benefit strong headline in the image: how to make $25 to $50 per hour with online social media jobs. Somebody sees that, they click it, and nice little caption, and you've got it linked out to a capture page.
Hmm.
Now sometimes you go to a capture page, sometimes you go directly to a blog post, but the bottom line
Yes.
is that um, it's a very simple process, and I'm dissecting it. I'm seeing what you're doing here, and there's not a single place in which ultimately you are putting your face on camera whatsoever throughout this strategy. Is that right?
Yeah, and I do have a TikTok, but that's slowly growing because again, I'm still kind of trying to figure out the social media.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose to do a blog because I
Mhm.
actually enjoy writing.
Yeah.
So that was something, um, as much as I want to get out of my comfort zone, I still want to focus on the things that I'm good at.
Yeah.
So I
And I
I
and
did
I
enjoy
I like
writing
that.
and mhm,
I like that, and I'm pointing this out specifically because, this is a great way to get things started if you're wanting to if you are a writer or do enjoy writing, or just want to have an alternative strategy from going and being on video.
yeah,
This is a fantastic strategy that is still gaining you. I mean, it's not about follower count here. You've got 214,000 monthly views on this profile, and you've got very few followers. It's a combination of where this content is getting pushed out and who's seeing it organically, and also the ads that you're running here on Pinterest, right?
yes.
Very fascinating, very very interesting. And then you've set up this blog over at Thrive Financially with Lisa, and it looks like it's just a WordPress blog, and you've uploaded some sort of a theme to it. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you got 5 or 6 blog posts, something like that. Doesn't appear like there's too many. Is that right?
Yeah, so more of like the modern blog is you don't post blogs like 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
It's you just have your core posts and just to help, depending on what your niche is, just
Hmm.
to help the people that go to your blog, um,
Yeah. I
um,
mean,
provide value.
the
Mhm.
really you've got about 4 or 5 real angles or things that you need to say, and you've
Yes.
created them into long form blog posts here on a blog that you own. And so what you do is, instead of focusing on tons and tons of blog posts and trying to rank those in Google, instead you're doing 4 or 5 main pillar pieces of content right here, that basically will answer or provide the angle of everything that you need to say in order to get somebody interested in what you're selling. And instead you're focusing on driving traffic by putting the majority of your efforts out here onto Pinterest and in running ads to those pillar pieces of content that then send those people on into your funnels. So it's almost
Mhm.
like the blog acts as the bridge page funnel.
Yes.
It's basically a landing page to where when somebody clicks one of these, they in many of your posts land over on one of these blog posts, which your main core products that you're promoting are embedded all throughout these blog posts.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great strategy. I think this is a fantastic alternative to the traditional SEO work that we've done for a long time with blogs, which is much slower. You're trying to you're creating the blog post and then you're trying to rank it in Google, and that can be
Mhm.
a really slow process versus what you've done here, which is your 4 or 5 pillar pieces of content. And inside of those pieces of content, you've got all of your affiliate tools and products that you're promoting. You're linking out to them, and you're just then focusing on creating a crap pile of traffic generating assets out here, which might be post on Pinterest. In your case, it's post on Pinterest and ads. It could also easily be TikTok videos. But what I see is happening here is you're starting them off with reading a text ad, and then you're moving them onto a blog where they read. And
Yeah.
right, so you're keeping that consistency or that congruency of reading all the way
Mhm.
through the funnel versus taking them from written ads to videos to then right, which may
Yes.
be a little bit throw them off for a loop or whatever, not be as effective.
Right. Yeah,
Wow.
it's been interesting learning all about Pinterest and Google and stuff. And it is really hard to rank on Google. So because I used to run Google ads, you just have to like crazy stand out. So
Mm.
Pinterest gives you the one of the my favorite parts about Pinterest is that your pin could still come up a year later, 2 years later. Like it doesn't other unlike Instagram or Facebook where it just gets lost like
Hmm.
2 hours after you post it.
Yeah.
It stays depending on like what people are searching for, depending on how good your pin does. So that's
Yeah.
another reason why I love it.
So Pinterest, just to give a little bit of context about how Pinterest works. Facebook usually is going to push when you post something on Facebook. Once it's gonna basically be pushed down into the feed. And so if you post something and it doesn't really get any initial traction, I mean, it's pretty much down in the feed. It's a page, it's a feed, right? Um, and what Pinterest is interesting because where it seems like they get a lot of their content is repurposing old content back up into a page, because I'm seeing content here from people who I both follow, but also from people who I don't follow,
Mhm.
which is where the opportunity is with Pinterest and TikTok, is that and I think with Instagram Reels too, but with Facebook, I'm not going to see anything from anybody unless I follow them or I'm friends with them, right? Whereas Pinterest, I'm going to see content from people. This is almost like the For You page. I'm going to see
Mhm.
content that Pinterest is pushing up that thinks I might like, similar to TikTok's For You page or Instagram's Discover or their Reels page. So I think that's a unique distinction. And it's kind of how, you know, how I think people are getting more of their content seen, like you just mentioned, because of the way that the platform works and the way that the algorithm works. It's better for marketing to cold traffic, whereas Facebook is better if you've got a warm audience that you want to continue to deliver value to and want to continue to focus on that warm audience. Then that's a little bit more how Facebook works. What other tips or insights do you have that might make Pinterest make more sense for everybody listening?
So one of like the things that kind of struck me was Pinterest is essentially Google for images.
Mm,
Um, and my business, I am more for the blog, I am specifically attracting women because I want to help women um, change their life kind of the way that I did.
mhm,
Um, I grew up with the notion like just work and pick up a paycheck and maybe you'll retire with a nice pension. So I
mhm.
think me as a minority, I think that's still common. I don't know why. My mother is very old fashioned, so I wanted to,
Yeah,
sorry, I'm getting off topic. I wanted to focus more on women, so women are more drawn to images. So that's another
mm,
reason why I chose Pinterest, because women are on Pinterest like crazy.
yeah,
And if they're at home, especially like moms that want to do side hustles or make extra income like that, they can easily find my page and blog.
yeah.
So yeah, Pinterest has been really, really beneficial for me, and I will continue to try to grow with it and love it. But yeah, that's a game changer right there. It's basically Google for
Mm,
pictures. And so again, your pins stay relevant even year. I see pins from like 2018.
yeah,
So the fact that you can make an affiliate commission or sale from like a post that was like 3 years old is pretty awesome. I
yeah,
don't think you can really do that with any other platforms.
yeah,
Um, and so just giving a page, just creating a page where they feel like they can refer back to it and
mm,
get inspired with other, because I also pin relevant pins, like just other side hustles, other jobs.
mm,
Um, Another thing of mine is mindset shift. So more like affirmations, um, just really more inspiration.
yeah, yeah. Um, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. How how with a platform like this has really been a sleeper platform, and like the majority of people who are using Pinterest, I'm not going to say everybody, but the majority of people who are using Pinterest within our community, there's not a ton of them, but the majority of people who are using Pinterest are saying the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a sleeper. It's underappreciated. It's under um yeah, it's underutilized because what you can do with Pinterest is not only post images like what you see, but also videos, right? So you can
Yeah.
see the videos that are, and this is an ad, right? And I think that the other cool thing about Pinterest is just look at how natural the ads look on this platform. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like for example, like this is just a natural post that the person didn't pay for, and then it's sitting right next to a penny hoarder ad. And the penny hoarder is a $20 million a year affiliate business, basically. Four thing in their ad simply says four things you can spend money on that will actually make you richer. Right? I mean, what a great ad, right? And you
Yeah.
would never even know that that's an ad. Like if you're just a regular person on Pinterest, not even paying attention. But what do? They send you to a blog post that
Mhm.
throughout this blog post, they have lots of little affiliate links embedded right in their post. And this is how they make their money. That they Penny Hoarder, I don't believe sells anything. It's all just a massive affiliate business. In every single blog, it's a massive blog in with tons of posts that have um, affiliate links embedded all throughout it. Yours is just a micro blog that's just got 4 or 5 pieces of pillar content on it, and that's fine too. That's a really manageable strategy. But the next
Mhm.
level is doing what Penny Hoarder's doing. And I just, it's interesting to, if you just look at the platform through a marketer's eyes, you can see why it's so powerful for just regular people. You can see why the ads work because they're literally just, it doesn't even look like an ad. It just looks
Yeah.
like a regular pin just next to the stay-at-home mom from Nebraska, and here's an ad from Northern Royal, right? You know what I mean? So they've really set it up. They've really set it up intelligently, and right here you can see a video from somebody want to make money by listening music, right? And this is likely going to be a short little video. You see, it's a simple little thing. This lady took her video from TikTok, put it right here
Mhm.
on. I don't see where her link is. Maybe she was just sending people to that site, but um, it's a really easy platform to use, isn't it?
Yeah, and like you said, it is very organic. Like even when I'm pinning my related pins, I'll see my ad pop up and it's exciting. But it just flows with everything. So it doesn't feel like it's like a sleazy salesman. And another thing I love about it is that it's not a social platform. So you don't have to be Miss Popularity. You don't have to have
Yeah,
a million followers for people to take you seriously. As long as you provide good content, people will follow you, or people like as long as you inspire people with like the pins that you're pinning, they will follow you and you'll provide value. So
yeah,
it doesn't have to be, like like an influencer game where you're trying to like get as many followers as you can.
yeah. I know, and which is just it's such a turn off for so many people, right? The whole social media. I mean, it just reminds you of, high school or something, where you're competing for people's attention or approval or whatever. Or you're somehow, basically, you know, making your self-esteem out to be how many likes you get or how many followers you have, and that can be difficult. I think that mental part of social media and marketing nowadays is that we get too wrapped up in numbers and then personalize them.
Mhm.
So I like this as a strategy because you don't have a lot of that socializing aspect, that I think can throw people off a little bit, right? It can,
Yeah.
because if you just have a job to do and nobody's standing over you and you're not socializing and you don't, it doesn't feel like it's socializing. A lot of times you just are more, you just, you just do the job and then you're done with it. Whereas sometimes it can be a mindset game if it feels like you're socializing and it feels like you're, especially if your childhood wasn't, you know, you did have a difficult time at school or you weren't the most popular kid. Uh, it can bring some of those memories and feelings back, is what I'm saying. That's a real thing. Do you
Yeah.
agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do want to utilize social media absolutely, but for people like me that weren't really great at it,
Hmm.
and that I did have to like work on this quickly. Pinterest was just like the best option for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a great alternative if,
Yeah.
you know, if you're camera shy or anything like
Yeah.
that.
And Brienne understands what I'm saying here. Excellent points. Triggers, I mean, just little trauma triggers of at first to be aware when you're coming on to social media. Don't go into high school mode and start taking on how many likes you got as that's how worthy you are. You know, uh, it's just a side note. It's not the main focus of what we're talking about. I just thought that that's something that is just another mental barrier we have to overcome in this business, I think. And it's if as long as you know about it going in, I think it's easy to overcome. But
Right.
when it slaps you and all of a sudden you get nasty comments on your TikToks and you're like, oh my God, people are so mean, and then you're like
Yeah.
triggered like you're in high school. Um, but anyways, what else would you say? What else would you tell yourself when that you know now that you didn't know when you were starting out?
Um, it for me, the biggest thing I had to overcome was was my mindset. I feel like I had just that mindset of like just settle for good enough, you know, like what, like who are you to ask for this crazy dream life that you want? So that was, other than like all the tech stuff, like that was the biggest thing that I had to overcome, which is why that's another thing that I focus on my blog, because that was so difficult for me, like just trying to get out of my head and getting rid of all that negativity, trying to manifest and do meditations and just change my mindset, because it like it will ultimately make you fail if you think that you can't do this, if you believe that you aren't capable of achieving like success. It, like it will manifest and it will kind of cripple you and hinder you. I remember one of this little training that I took, this girl, woman, I don't know why I called her a girl. Um, she said that she does Pinterest as well. And she said that she was running her Pinterest ads and all of a sudden all her ads got wiped out and she got shut out and she had
Huh.
to restart.
Wow.
And it was, and she kind of said that she thought it was because of her mindset, that she didn't actually truly think that she could succeed. And I, that's something that I had to overcome. Even with this show, I was kind of hesitant to do it because I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm like there yet. I don't know if I can speak in authority.
Mm,
And literally, I did not have commissions for a couple days. And then I was like washing the dishes and I was like, oh my God, I did this to myself.
yeah.
Because I went back into that negativity that like, I'm not ready. I'm not successful enough. I'm not there enough. Like
Yeah.
I was continuing to wait for something to happen. And it's
Right.
not about waiting for something to happen. It's just being the best version of yourself every single day, work on yourself every day. Um, and yeah, so
And
that's
speaking what
honestly,
you want into existence.
yes, instead of speaking, oh, I'm not good enough.
Yeah. Or I'm not
So
ready. I mean, that's one of the most common myths, lies, and just absolute business killers. I
mhm,
mean, it's when you start saying that, you're a couple of steps away from just going ahead and grabbing your tombstone and laying your pretty little business dream down in a grave to die. And that unfortunately happens. I mean, you have a beautiful dream. You should probably look at it like it's a person and imagine that unfortunately, every single day, people bury their business dreams. They take their tombstone and they basically lay their dream down and die to die. Um, or they just take it behind the barn and shoot it themselves. I mean,
exactly.
I don't know what's worse is when you just outright quit or when it gets taken away from you and you don't even know what's happening. You don't even know why you're self sabotaging. But I do think one of the quickest ways to determine whether you're self-sabotaging is, are you telling yourself that you're not ready yet? That
Exactly.
that that if you are telling yourself, "Well, I'm not ready to do that yet," then you are 1000% self-sabotaging in that moment, because with a simple reframe, you could just as easily be using that precious air and energy that you're using just to say those words. You could be saying, I'm right on the brink of a breakthrough. I just got to
Mhm.
keep taking massive action. And with that massive action, probably 80% is going to be learning, and 20% I'm going to hit the bullseye, because that's the law of averages. I mean, usually you at the beginning, if you take lots of action, even as you've been in business for a while, not everything works. So you got to do enough stuff to where you get that video that goes viral. You get that post that blows up. That's how you create success. It's that 9 out of 10 things suck and they get just average views or average leads, or they just kind of are is a regular piece of content. And then 1 out of every 10 pieces of content that you put out, and I'm just ranging this, blows up. And you might ride that wave. I know we got people here in this community that ride the wave of a video going viral on TikTok with 1 million or 2 million views, takes them up to 30, 40,000 followers, builds their list to their first 10,000. And they don't have anything big like that happen, for a while. And then all of a sudden, boom, a month down the road, they, 30 more pieces of content maybe, and they get another humdinger that goes viral. Right. Well, that's a great example of just the more I do, it's a numbers game. I got to put out enough stuff. So what is my point? That if I'm telling myself I'm not ready, as if I'm going to be ready and everything that I'm going to do is going to be a great success, that is a trap.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? What's coming up for you as I say that?
Yeah, I mean, it would that was kind of a wake-up call for me. Just wait, and I heard myself saying it, or at least thinking it too, like, "Oh, I can't wait to have this amount of money," or "I can't wait to be like a size 6," like it, and I'm just like, "No, I need to stop waiting." And that's what's ultimately is going to kill me, is just the waiting. I mean, even before, when I was a hairdresser, it was like that. I just thought that it was just going to fall into place one day, like, oh, okay, one day I'll have a house and stuff. But I didn't realize, like, I have to put in the work to actually
Mhm.
achieve that. It's not just going to magically happen because I'm 35 or 40 or whatever.
Right.
It's like, so again, that's where I am, like, I had to get out of my comfort zone and do stuff that I completely haven't done before, and I have to stay consistent. Like I said, like, I am on TikTok. I'm kind of on a slow start to that, but I'm not going to let that stop me. Like, I know that it's going to work out. I know that I'm going to improve on my skills. So it's not like, oh, maybe I'll just give up right now. Maybe I'll visit that later. Like, no, like, you just have to stay consistent. You have to work through it, and just know that if you put everything that you have into it, like, it is going to work out. Like, you can't, you have to fail at certain things to learn stuff. But I mean, you have to fail essentially to
Well,
succeed.
ultimately, you have to be intentional, right?
Yeah.
I think that is one of the things that is missing from so many people's uh, plans for success, is that I have to be intentional with my actions. I can't just, as you were just saying, live my life and just, oh, one day the partner of my dreams is going to land in my lap. And yeah, I'm entitled to a house because I'm 35 years old. Sometimes we say, well, when I'm 35, then I'll surely be
Exactly.
married and own a home. But if you're not intentional, if you're 30 and you're that it, let's just say hypothetically, you were saying that. Well, if you didn't put intention that, oh, I'm going to keep my heart and eyes open for my soulmate, and I'm going to go talk to some mortgage companies and figure out what rates are, and talk to some realtors and understand exactly how much I can afford. And I mean, you may be able to afford a house right now and you're not buying it because you're not being intentional with researching what is it going to take to be a homeowner. A lot of times, and I see this with people that are in my life, they know a little bit about a lot of things. They whenever a topic comes up, they got something to say about it. You know what I mean? Like as if they know something about the topic. And the truth is that um these are the type of people that never get anything done. They never achieve anything because they just know they just is all they do is talk, and they don't take any action, and they don't take any intentional action. And so it's like, you know, the human being can trick itself into think that it's taking action because we're such good manipulators and communicators. We can manipulate ourselves into feeling like we're doing something because, oh, maybe we're talking about it and explaining it to our families or whatever it is. But the truth is that um, until we take intentional action to and speak what we want into existence, and then back that up with action, we literally join the masses of people who sit around in bars and in breakfast diners talking shit and not ever doing anything
Right.
and making
Yeah.
ourselves feel good for not doing anything. And again, we can do that because we can whisper sweet nothings right into our own little ears, you know. And the truth is that, you know, again, without intentional action and speaking what you want into existence, it's likely not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's great to want things and stuff, but you have to be like, okay, how can I get those things? Like, yeah, that was a game changer for me. I almost felt myself, I think I like convinced myself that I was like, oh, like I live in LA and I have an apartment and I like it's amazing. But it's like, no, I want a house. I want a yard that my dog can play in. Every time my dog's in a yard, he's so happy. And then he comes home to this little apartment and he's like, what's happening?
I'm in, I'm
So
in a jail cell here. Yeah,
typical
right,
millennial
right,
wants a
right.
house for their dog. But
Oh, that's
um,
great. I love it. Well, I mean, I see other things in your future, and I'm sure you're already beginning to manifest those things through,
yeah.
you know, using some of these practices and being intentional. And I mean, if you know how to do, I believe, and my buddy sparked up a bunch of controversy the other day. I saw him make a post on social media, and he said, "Or would you be attracted to a woman if she didn't cook or clean?" And you know, everybody was like, that's misogynistic and all this. And his rationale for it, for saying no, I wouldn't be interested in a woman who doesn't cook or clean, is he said, well, um how you do one thing is how you do everything. He kind of saved his ass on the misogynistic, right? And he kind of brought back the old entrepreneur. You know, he was like, well, I believe how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you know, and so he kind of tried to backpedal himself out of that after being attacked in the
Right.
comments. But um, there's truth to that, you know, and I believe
Yeah.
there's always truth to both sides. You know, there's truth to everybody's opinion. Everybody's got a little bit of truth. But you know, how you do one thing's kind of how you do everything. And you know, I see people who have great businesses, they have great marriages, they have great relationships, they have great relationships with their kids. You know, I don't usually see people who are really successful in business and everything else is shit. You know, because how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Hmm.
You know, you might have a flash in the pan success, you know, with something, but if you run a good, steady, long term business and you're successful with it year after year, you're going to be successful in other things because how you do one thing is how you do everything. I do believe that. And so, you know, with building a business and learning marketing, you know, it takes a certain amount of effort, and it takes a certain amount of commitment, similar to how if you were you know, I would imagine now if I was 30, 35, and I was looking for a mate, right, I'd be pretty intentional about it now based on how
Hmm.
I used to act, which was, you know, I don't know how anything in my life happens. It just all happened. You know, that was what I said when I was young. I'd be land in jail. I don't know how I got here. You know, judge sucks. Police officer was a dick. You know, and it's not that I wasn't, you know, loaded walking down the street or driving my car or whatever when I was 22 years old. Um, but you know, anyways, so you seem like you're in that phase of your life to where there was a part of your life where it was just like, I'm going to LA, I'm going to have fun. But now you're kind of like, I want to be a lot more intentional with things. Would that be a fair assessment of the chapter of your life that you're in right now?
Yeah, well, I was born and raised in LA.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sorry.
um,
I was getting a vibe that you moved there, but okay. So you're
no,
just you're a proud LA native, and
yes,
okay, cool,
absolutely.
cool.
Um, well, oh God, I hate to say it, but like, yeah, the pandemic just changed everything for me. So I mean, I loved LA. Like, I still love LA. Like, I have
So it was
everything
really
here.
that shifted your outlook on life more than anything. It was that happening.
It was the fire in my behind that I that it because
Yeah,
I turned 30 last year, and you go through that. Oh my God, I'm 30.
right. I
So
remember that. That was 8 years ago for me. So, I mean, I remember that.
yeah, so
I'm coming up on the big 40, so I'm really
oh
gonna have some reflecting to do.
yeah, it's crazy. So I knew I didn't want to be a hairdresser for the rest of my life because um I don't want to make it sound bad, but my mother is a massage therapist, um and I hate to say it, but I kind of didn't want to follow in her footsteps because she doesn't really have that great of a retirement plan. She doesn't have like a pension or anything like that. So,
Mm,
and I was on that same boat. Like I still don't have an IRA. So it was just very scary for me. And I didn't, um, I knew that that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And now, and kind of when the world stopped, it made me realize all these things that I loved about LA, yeah, they're great, but I don't really need them. Like I do want a really nice home to come home to. I do want certain things that I thought that were just pipe dreams, or I thought I couldn't get until, again, that just that waiting, or I didn't think that I deserved it. So it was just a game changer to me. So now I'm just like in that headspace, like I want these things. How do I get them?
mm,
Like I do want a really nice house. I'm an HGTV addict, so I do want a beautifully remodeled home. I'm very picky, and I want that, and it's okay. And so it's like, great. How do I work to get there?
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
want to retire at 50. How do I get there? Like how can I live off dividends and interest and all that stuff? So
mm,
I'm very much in that mode, like in
yeah,
that transition, like, okay, I want these things, I deserve them, let me go after them and get them and figure out that way. Because I want to travel and I want to do all these things, and
yeah.
I really don't want to work. So
Well,
it's like,
what's interesting is that it we live in a world full of average,
mhm,
a world full of average. I mean, if there was one way that you could describe the majority of people, it's just good old average person. It's just
yeah,
nothing wrong with it. I don't want to speak as if I'm some high and mighty, but average is just human nature. It's just you
mhm,
do what you got to do to get by. Human beings are typically lazy, path of least resistance, and it's understandable. I have certain parts of my life that are like that.
yeah,
Um, and I have it does bring you a bit more relaxation and peace when you are a bit more financially stable and a little bit more settled down in your life. But I mean, 8 years a good long. Trust me, I've been grinding hard for the past 8 years. From 30 to 38, I've been grinding hard.
mhm,
So I'm tired right now. I got two little ones at home. I'm tired.
yeah,
I'm tired. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of average in this world. And what I was gonna say was that if you can just fuck average and be legendary, I know that makes no sense, but it makes
oh
sense why we say it,
yeah,
right? Because
right,
the only thing you really have to do to be successful, and I know this is going to sound oversimplified, is just not quit, is not just not be average, right?
right,
And you will really eventually succeed. And how do I know that? Because every single person that I've met that's still working, still building their business, still posting content, generating leads, stuff like that. Well, they're still in the game.
Mhm.
They're still in the game, and they're making money, and just they're getting better, because when you practice, you get better at stuff. And every single person who's quit, well, they're not doing it anymore. They're back doing whatever they were doing, or they're hopping from thing to thing. So part of just being successful, what I'm trying to say is actually sticking with something for multiple years, giving yourself time for that to build up and to begin to compound and begin to pick up like like a snowball. It's almost like a snowball effect. Your success feels very small at the beginning. It's hard to see the winning moments. It's hard to see the successes because they feel so insignificant, but the failures feel so big. But the snowball eventually, a month after month after month, picks up more steam, and those wins feel bigger now. They start to feel bigger. It's more money. It's more noticeable. More people are saying things about you. You're having your first $10,000 month, $30,000 month, 40,000. Like, these things are happening, and now you've got momentum, where the only way to truly screw it up is to actually just start shutting down your email list, and right, because you've got enough momentum now. You've got enough followers, and you've got a big enough email list, and you've got a system to where if you stopped creating content or putting out the value that you put out, people would actually ask, where did she go? What happened to her? Right. And that takes about usually a good solid, if you're learning and implementing, that takes 6 to 12 months to achieve that, to where
Yeah.
you're really grooving, like seriously, you're grooving. And unfortunately, most people can't even. And I think I'm just going to start talking about this more, because succeeding is not a mystery. Most people can't even finish the 15-day challenge, folks. So if I mean, let alone take any action. I'm talking about just sit down and watch some videos. Just, can you sit
Right.
down and watch some? Like, you don't even need to go out on the court and shoot 3-pointers in a real live game. Just sit in the tape room and watch some tape. That's all we're asking. Most people can't do that, but they want to be successful. It's like you're quitting too soon. You're not willing to do the
Mhm.
basic ass stuff. Like, just sit and watch a video. So when we start to break it down like that, success is actually really easy. And you see how I'm reframing this right now also,
Right.
because I want to have empowering thoughts in my head. I don't want to have big scary thoughts. Success is really actually easy, because the main thing that I have to not do is I have to not quit, and I have to finish things, and I have to follow through and finish what I signed up for. And I don't know, that seems to me like a very manageable outlook on building this business. What comes up for you as I say that?
I mean, I agree. I'll like you literally just have to like not quit and stay consistent and just do it and try it. And again, be uncomfortable. I remember I was in the break room one time and I'll never forget this. It was kind of crazy. My boss was talking to her assistant and her assistant was older. And I don't know what was said. I can't remember. But when she left the room, I remember my boss saying, there's always going to be those people that just stay assistants. And I was like, wow, that was kind of like I was like,
Like, she
and I
was
was
shit
an
talking her
assistant.
assistant.
She
Like,
was,
she
yeah,
was kind of
but
like
it,
saying, like, this is some there's some people who just never are gonna progress.
yeah, and I wouldn't say she was like shit talking her, but it was that it unfortunately, and it's kind of true. It's like there's
Yeah,
just some people that are
there
like
is some truth
okay
to
with
it.
that, and
There
and
is
and
truth.
it was kind of sad for me. And I think it was like then I realized I was like, again, I wasn't an assistant, I was already a stylist, but kind of use that metaphor for life. And it's like, okay, I don't
Yeah.
want to be an assistant, I want to be the hairdresser making the most money. And like I feel like, and some I don't know about other people, but for me that was hard to overcome because I always thought like, oh, like you shouldn't ask for more. Like again, like who are you to want all these nice things and all this stuff? And I don't know, maybe it's just because of the way I grew up. My mom's super old school. I remember
Yeah.
she's my babysitter. So whenever I go on trips, I drop my dog off, and she's like, "Oh, you're so fancy," and I'm like, "For going on
I
trips, like for like living my life," like, and it was just kind of like, "Oh, but that's
yeah,
okay. Like, there's nothing
I
wrong with
know.
that."
There's
So yeah.
nothing wrong with being rich, there's nothing wrong with being wealthy, there's nothing
Mhm,
wrong with wanting nice things, to be
mhm,
bougie, to, like, go get your nails done, to get your hair done, to get Botox if you want it, to you know what I mean? Whatever your thing is, to get your you know what I mean? To go get a massage once or twice a week, to, wanna stay in 4 and 5-star hotels, to wanna go and eat in nice restaurants, to wanna valet your car, to want to ride first class on a plane, to want to wear a 15, 30, $50,000 watch on your wrist. There's nothing wrong with that. And
yeah.
we see this time and time again, day after day, where the rich are villainized, and pay their fair share of taxes, whether it's a politician who's saying it or whether it is your mother, your father who's saying, "What do you think we're rich? What do you think you're bougie? You're so fancy. You can't afford that. We can't afford that." We're just so. And then we've got the average, the all of our friend, majority of my friends, as much as I love them, they're not. You know, I'm relaxing now. I'll be honest with you. I'm just spitting fireball ass facts right now. When they were all working and kind of chilling back in our late 20s and early 30s, I was working my ass off. So I made a lot of social sacrifices. But now that I'm older, they're working their asses off and I'm chilling a lot more
Mhm,
because I've already put the work in early and I'm not as frantic living paycheck to paycheck. Um, even remotely close. Matter of fact, I do a lot of things in my life that nobody knows about because I don't want to hear the lack and the how can I say this respectfully? But the poor-minded bullshit is how I can
yeah.
say that respectfully. I don't want to hear people's bullshit, their limiting beliefs. I don't want to hear their opinions about what it's in, and that's kind of where I'm at because when you work for something and you earn it, y look, there ain't a better feeling.
Mhm.
There's not a better feeling. And when I go and you know, I stay in a $1,000 a night hotel room or drive a $800 a day rental car or whatever the kind of crazy shit that I'm doing, right? I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear, and I'm saying this because my aunt and uncle, they're on a they sold a business. They actually had an insurance business, and we went on a trip recently to a funeral up in Alabama because we had a family member die. And when I got there, my aunt had arranged and bought the plane tickets and everything. And then when we got there, and I pay her back, whatever. No, I never let anybody buy me anything for the most part. But when we got there, I rented the car, and then she wanted to split. So she said, "Oh, just send me the bill, and we'll split all the everything down the middle." And I usually don't even do that. I just pay for mostly my family member stuff. But anyways, she wanted to do this. She wanted to split. So anyways, Aaron sends her over the car bill. It was $800 a day. She goes, "I don't need no $400 a day." It's like, God damn it. That's why I don't talk to people about shit. Because I
Right.
don't want to hear I don't need no $400. Bitch, it wasn't 400, it was 800 a day. 400 is just your half. You know, now I love every single one of my family members, but I'm telling you, it's just it's hilarious and
Mhm.
it's just yeah, I don't want to hear it either. I'm
Yeah.
really just ranting, but I mean, I think that it's difficult to be a go-getter, a high achiever when you're surrounded by so much average, even if you love
Mhm.
them. You're surrounded
Right.
by so much average. It takes a lot of courage to do that, but I think it's easier when you find a community of people like us who are sort of at least for the most part, all on the same page.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I think it's the people that villainize like rich people that are just scared to achieve that, or they don't actually do the work because of course they want it. Like,
Of
of course they
course.
want a nice house and things, and you don't have to be crazy luxury. You want a nice life for yourself. You want to be
Yeah.
comfortable. And yeah, I just like, I don't want to pay taxes, so I want to, incorporate myself and put all the expenses in my business. Like, I don't want to pay taxes like that. Like, and people are like, oh, you got to pay tax. Like, why? That's my money. I worked for it. So
Well,
like,
you do have to pay taxes,
oh,
unfortunately.
of course. I'm just saying, like, that Rich Dad Poor Dad book completely changed my life. And
Good, good, good.
so when he was talking about taxes, I was like, oh yeah, like people villainize like rich people because they're like, oh, rich people don't pay taxes. I'm like, no, they're just smart and have the resources and educate themselves onto how to not have the government rip them off. Because
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like, it's insane.
Well, the way these guys don't pay taxes is they don't take a salary. And so all
Yeah,
their wealth is tied up in their stock. And you don't have to pay tax until you sell stock. And so, if Elon Musk needed money tomorrow, and he even recently tweeted about this, that if he sold off $10 million in stock or some crazy, so much more than that, I think he owns, I don't know how much of his different companies, but he was talking about a huge number. And if he would have sold off that amount of stock, he would have paid an extraordinary amount of taxes. You just pay lower taxes on capital gains than oftentimes you do on income, because capital gains tax is 25%, whereas
mm-hmm.
income tax, federal income tax for his tax bracket, my tax bracket is nearly 40%. And if you're living in California, you've got state income tax on top of that, and that's why you get up into 50+%
Oh
with
yeah,
top earners out in California.
California is insane. And now that I'm like getting more into real estate, I'm figuring out all this stuff. And I was like, what? You want to tax me for this? Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah, yeah. So, well, this is awesome. We've got. I could obviously just talk shit here all morning, but thanks for coming on. Thanks for showing us your Pinterest stuff. Really
Yeah, of
exciting,
course.
and may we want to keep learning from you, keep following you, seeing what you're doing, how you can help the rest of the community. Remember that no matter where you're at, as long as you're doing something and you're learning, there's things that you can teach me, anybody else. So make sure that you never ever believe the lie that you're not
Yeah,
ready for something, because you also crushed it
absolutely.
today as well. So thanks
Thank
for
you.
everything.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Happy, hopefully, I motivated people, inspired people. So,
Without a doubt you did. Without a
yeah.
doubt you did. All right, Lisa, have a great Friday. Stay legendary. We'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right, you can follow Lisa on at thrivefinanciallywithlisa.com. And if you go there, you'll see where her her Pinterest and TikTok stuff is, and all that. Her Pinterest handle is the same thing, Thrive Financially with Lisa. So if you're looking for her, that's where you're going to find her. At least her blog, Thrive Financially with Lisa, and Thrive Financially with Lisa on Pinterest. And then TikTok is actually going to be Thrive Financially. So that's kind of a cool handle that she got there. Thrive Financially. She's just kind of getting her TikTok stuff off the ground, but really, really incredible insights on Pinterest, and in doing what she's doing. Fantastic conversation this morning, and we'll be back on Monday with another episode. Make a serious decision and investment in yourself today. If you haven't yet, nobody's coming to rescue you. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I hope that these conversations wake you up, right? To not take your tombstone and lay your dream down in a grave to die, but to, even if you got to resuscitate that son of a gun every day for the first week or so, get it up, get it going, because without intention, you're not going to achieve something. Find some pain in your life that you want to stop. Let it motivate you and be intentional with this thing. And we'll see you guys back for another episode on Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Bye-bye.